tonight, burner phones, secret personal emails, and who is Dave P?
It looks bad, it's sleazy.
What new allegations against suspended Attorney General Ken Paxton could mean for his impeachment trial that begins in less than 3 weeks. Plus, access to the most common abortion medication is in limbo after a new court ruling, where the legal battle might be headed next. And later, it's been a year since the biggest federal climate bill in U.S. history was signed into law.
We're 1 year in and we're already seeing big results, including in Texas.
Which major Texas industries are being affected the most? Capital Tonight starts right now. Paxton can run, but he cannot hide. That's the message from House impeachment managers who detailed a host of new accusations against suspended Attorney General Ken Paxton. Thanks for joining us here on Capitol Tonight. I'm Karina Kling. Paxton's team wants the articles of impeachment against him dismissed, but today House investigators countered that Paxton repeatedly abused his power to help an Austin real estate developer. They allege he masked his ties to the developer by using burner phones and a secret personal email address. In a Senate trial next month, House managers will argue Paxton should be removed from office. Charlotte Scott details the new accusations.
New allegations reveal suspended Attorney General Ken Paxton created an Uber account under the name Dave P. with Austin real estate developer Nate Paul, who's at the center of his impeachment trial. The account was created for Paxton to use when they wanted to meet or when he wanted to see his mistress.
Now we have another mantra that's come out from the House managers, which is fake Uber account, fake Uber account. That's easy. Everybody understands that. It looks bad. It's sleazy. It's not just some gratuitous thing. It's tied in with all these other accusations about the relationship between these two guys.
In new filings, House impeachment lawyers say Paxton morphed the Attorney General's office into a concierge law firm for Paul, who was facing legal trouble. They accuse Paxton of abusing his power to advance Paul's aims.
They're sort of daring senators that might be inclined to vote for dismissal. Are you sure on this record? If the what you're going to hang your hat on is, oh, the voters decided, really? Are you sure about that?
Paxton's team seeks to get rid of the impeachment charges against him, claiming they're unsubstantiated. They also cite the forgiveness doctrine, saying voters chose to re-elect Paxton to a third term, even though they knew about wrongdoings before casting a ballot. But the House managers argue voters didn't know all the details because Paxton tried to conceal them.
So we're going to learn a lot at a level of detail that will put some additional weight behind these charges that Attorney General Paxton is facing.
The charges also allege Paxton used his office's power to interfere with the federal investigation of Paul. Paul was recently charged with federal financial crimes. He's denied wrongdoing. Paxton is also accused of accepting bribes from Paul in the form of campaign donations and a kitchen remodel. Paxton's top aides tried to get him away from Paul, warning him that he was a, quote, crook, according to the filings.
Yes, there probably is more evidence, but this is the time to put the good stuff out there, is in response to motion to dismiss. You don't want to take a chance.
The House voted to impeach Paxton in May. The Senate trial is expected to last a few weeks. He could be removed from office if any article is approved by 2/3 of senators who will be serving as jurors. For Capitol Tonight, I'm Charlotte Scott.
Paxton's lead attorney sent out a statement today saying Paxton has not sought or accepted a bribe, and the, quote, House manager's slanderous accusation to the contrary is meritless, no matter how many times they repeat it. Let's bring in Lauren McGaughy now. She's with the Dallas Morning News and is closely covering the Paxton proceedings. Lauren, good to see you. Thanks for being with us.
Sure.
How do you think these new allegations will affect the trial?
Well, we knew some of what was detailed in this slew of filings today. We've known for a couple of years that Paxton is alleged to have intervened on Nate Paul's behalf a number of times using his agency's power, and we've known about the allegations of the quid pro quo, the bribes going in reverse. What these new filings tell us is they provide a level of detail that we haven't had before. There's some connective tissue in there that kind of gives us a new sense of how close these two men might have been, and they provide some a deep level of detail on allegations that Paxton tried to cover up his relationship with Paul. This is when we're getting to, the burner phones, the private email account, the Uber account that was allegedly created by Paul to help ferry Paxton to this woman he was allegedly having an affair with, and to Paul's own home. So it shows us they could have been a lot closer than we have known up until this point, and that there was a lot more going in both directions according to the allegations.
I guess one of the big questions is, if everyone is telling Paxton to stay away from this guy, to stay away from Paul, why does he have such a close relationship with him?
I think that's the $3.3 million question. I expect we'll hear a lot more at trial, but everyone is asking at this point, why. Paxton has said that he believes that Nate Paul was the subject of some kind of improper raid or attention from federal authorities, and that he was doing what he thought was proper with his agency to look into Paul's complaints about this raid. So that's Paxton's telling, but the top officials in his agency who reported him to the FBI said that they told him multiple times that they thought that Paul was just using him and using the agency.
Paxton's team wants the articles dismissed. They've based that on the argument that the public was aware of some of the misconduct allegations against Paxton and elected him anyway. I mean, with these new allegations and the House manager saying that, there's a lot the public still doesn't know, how do you think that argument holds up?
The House managers responded directly to that today and said that Paxton is both arguing that he was reelected, and so the public was aware of the various allegations against him, but they also allege that he worked to cover up these alleged crimes. So, it all depends what comes out of trial. And if we get to trial, I have to mention that there's been reports in the Austin American-Statesman that a grand jury, a federal grand jury, is also looking into Paxton's ties to Paul. And so there's a lot more that could happen even in the next few weeks before we get to September 5th.
So you're saying, the potential for even a delay on the Senate trial is perhaps up there.
It's possible at this point. I think when we get into allegations of burner phones and fake Uber accounts, that I'm going to be completely open-minded and expect the unexpected at this point.
A lot that came out in these filings, as you mentioned, a lot we already knew, but a lot more to come, I'm sure, in the coming weeks. Lauren McGaughy of the Dallas Morning News, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. For more refreshing stories about your community, click the subscribe button over here. You can also download our Spectrum News app and tune in to Channel 55 on Dish and DirecTV to get live news coverage, weather updates every 10 minutes, and more. We'll see you then.